Ignorance is commonly assumed to be merely lacking in knowledge about a particular subject. But in reality, it's much more than that. An ignorant person may well be aware of certain aspects of history or science or different cultures around the world, say. But at the same time, even while being aware of those things, he may assume that these things are simply not relevant to him, that he may safely ignore them. Indeed, in order to be able to ignore something, you must first be aware of its existence. So, ignorance cannot be merely lacking knowledge. It's because you make a conscious decision to disregard the existence of something. It's simply not relevant to you because you don't see the connections between those other things and you. By contrast, a holistic person would see connections between almost everything. Between yourself and the rest of society. Between the society you live in and other societies around the world. And between those present day societies and those societies as they were in the past. Whether it was decades or even centuries in the past, we all see things connected to each other. It is this ignorance, this lack of holism, this refusal to see connections between different peoples and different times, which I blame for the election of Donald Trump. Millions of rural white Americans see themselves stricken with poverty and abandoned by their government. When in fact the officials in the government, the so-called political establishment, are people that, because they've dealt with for so long with worldwide issues, tend to know more and understand much more deeply than the average rural white person. But then someone like Donald Trump comes along and says what these rural white people have already been thinking for decades, and finally the people say, hey, this guy is just like us, he gets it, he understands us, and they overwhelmingly vote for him. And now he's about to become president. A man who may not have been ignorant himself, I certainly hope he isn't, but he got elected because of ignorance. And that is how our election system, the entire political apparatus of our country in general, has failed us. For all practical intents and purposes, genuine functional democracy in America is dead. And I will miss it.